Hello, ICL Knuckleheads. This is Mike Goodman and Ryan Kovault, and we're here to talk about the Pardon the Interruption and the first episode of the Pardon the Interruption for the ICL. So, how you doing, Ryan?
I'm good. How are you doing today?
I'm ready to argue, that's for sure. So, let's get in with the 6 topics of the day, or the week. Question number 1. Upset in week number 1. The Ravens went into Green Bay and shocked the Packers. With that being said, are the Ravens pretenders or contenders?
I think I'm going to say that they're pretenders. And I think each week we read about Aaron Rodgers and how he isn't getting things done here and there last season. And even now, after an off-season of work by the GM, it appears as though Rodgers is just going to remain a streaky quarterback. So with that in mind, obviously seeing the reports and news coming from the Packers camp, this issue will be corrected, I believe, going forward. All you have to do is look at Aaron Rodgers over historically. Always gets over 20 touchdowns. Always, well, not always, but generally he's a great passer. So I think he corrects that issue, and that's not to take anything away from the Ravens. I believe that they're still a very good 500 team, and they're improving, but I just don't quite see them being there in the consistency department. So this season I label them a pretender.
I actually agree that they're pretenders. Not to take nothing away with the win, because that's a big win, and it could be a momentum builder. But looking over their schedule, you know, they got a pretty tough schedule this year. So right now I'm going to label them and agree that the Baltimore Ravens are pretenders. Will the Houston Texans, will they win over 10 games or under 10 games this season?
Oh, you want me to take this one first, huh?
Yep.
All right. You know, looking over the last couple of years and just what the GM has been able to do with the Jaguars, and then moving on to the Saints and now to the Texans, I see he's just consistently getting these 10 wins. And when he left the Jags last year, he had them rolling. And this offseason, I got to see his team up close, and I think he's got that defense going. And even in the AFC South, I think he has a real opportunity to take a claim in that tough division. So I'm gonna say over. I think he can do it.
I also agree. I think he will win over 10 games. I have played him in the off season, and his defense is unbelievable, very good. I think he could go for the AFC South title. I think he can run very well. Just needs to work on his passing game a little bit. But the defense is no joke. That's for real defense, and a lot of it is just man up, cover 2 safety. You know, safety over the top help. So he plays a lot of man, and his guys get in there and get the job done. So I'm going to say the Texans will win over 10 games in 2018.
So, oddsmaker, which is more likely to happen first? Someone in the AFC West finally dethrones the Chiefs, or they actually win their first National Football Championship?
I'm going to have to say someone from the AFC West taking the division. And here's why I say that. We all know that KD can get to the Super Bowl. But history tells us that the Chiefs, for whatever reasons, come up short in the Super Bowl. It's either 3 points here, 3 points there, whatever. So I believe that someone eventually from the AFC West will beat KD for the division before KD wins a championship.
No, I don't agree with that. No. I've seen seasons where the Chiefs have stumbled and limped their way through in lean seasons and still has yet to feel any pressure of losing out the division. And believe me, the Chargers have the GM in place to make that happen. But we just haven't seen them claim that division yet. And as for the Raiders, they just haven't had stable management. And Rich has been behind the 8 ball trying to get that team sorted and competitive. And as for the Broncos, they have a very solid defense, but they still haven't found the right combination on offense to consistently compete over the long haul. Though once the offense gets figured out, I think they turn it around, and it'll be quick and with a thunderous roar, But I'm going to say that the Chiefs win their first championship before they actually feel any heat.
Wow. Okay. What is trending more right now? Branch's championship with that exotic offense that he ran, or Lynch's Dirty Birds defense down in Atlanta that won the championship?
I think tainted is kind of a harsh word. I suppose if you want to get to the heart of the matter, all things considered, and how the recent barometer of things in the league are going, I'm going to have to say hands down it's the defense. While Branch, Roth, whomever, you almost have to respect how that offense has evolved over a lot of seasons of mixing things up and putting things in. It had to have taken a lot of time, and while it was effective and in some circles might be considered cheesy, I think the offense will fade. I think that just fades into an antidote. I don't see that as anything to worry about. However, the Falcons' defense and all the things that come with that has become a circus. You can't go anywhere without hearing about this one. And I think the thing that people will point to immediately is the record books. And that will be the legacy of that team. No matter wrong or right or fair, that's how that team and its Super Bowl victory will be remembered. Because it's right there in the fans' face. You can see it. And I think if you want to list a game as tainted, that would probably be the game that best fits that definition.
Okay. I've been on the fence on this one. Actually, this would have been a great toss-up section, but it's trending now, and I actually have to agree. It's Lynch's Dirty Birds defense down in Atlanta, while Branch did have some exotic offense that had a lot of people, when they played him, pulling their hair out or just dreading playing Branch because his offense, it was very hard to stop. I do feel with you. The record books will say Atlanta's defense and all them interceptions, and then the 2 or 3 interceptions that they had in the Super Bowl. That will be the one that people, if you look at and say the Falcons won the championship, everybody will go back and look and say, yeah, but he had this defense that was just crazy good with the turnovers and all the playmakers he has on defense. So I agree. Dirty Birds defense down in Atlanta.
Yeah. All right, the next segment here. Loving or leaving? After an upset in Week 1 with the Bucs taking down the Panthers, are you loving or leaving the Panthers?
I'm loving the Panthers because they historically sometimes start out a little slow. It's astonishing to me that he gave up 30 points because James normally is very, very good at the defense end. But his defense is set up very well, and he's a very good GM and very good play caller. It's one game in. He's in a tough division, so it's kind of like him giving a game up in that division, But no way am I not still loving the Panthers right now.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree. I'm still loving the Panthers. They seem to always have close losses, especially in their division. That division seems to always play pretty tough against each other. So I don't see it as being any different in my eyes. I look for them to rebound and be a definite playoff contender. James does have a long history of being consistent, and he is a very good defensive coach, so it is rather surprising that he gave up so many points. But I just can't hate on the boys down in Carolina.
Yeah, I agree. The last segment we have, it's called Food Chain. And it's going to be like this. What is the top 5 AFC teams to beat right now?
Well, we all know I'm in on the Browns this season. All in. But I think you have to look at the track and see the field and go by what you know, not what you feel. So with that in mind, I think the Chiefs are still my team to beat overall as far as being competitive and consistency over time. I truly believe that if you want the AFC crown, regardless of his past and the playoff issues, if you don't get past the Chiefs, you're not getting to the Super Bowl. After that, I'm going to go with the Pats. I'm going to say the Patriots. I think Mike showed last year that he can go in and he can take a young team that might not be what you think it is, and he can turn that around. And I think he's one of those teams like the Chiefs that when he's on his game and he's ready to play, if you can't go through him, you're not getting anywhere in the playoffs as well. After that, the whole thing gets a little murky. You've got the Titans, which are already solid, the Dolphins. There's just a huge group of teams all stacked up in the same place. But I think number 3, I'm going to go with the Jags. Even after Sham came in halfway through the season last year, they didn't miss a beat. They kept rolling, and they rolled themselves all the way to the championship game. And I think he came into week 1. He faced a very tough team, and he came out on top again. So until he loses, I think he's the 3rd team. After that, I'm going to go with the Bengals. Again, he can be kind of a brunt to the joke about getting to the playoffs and actually winning. But again, if you can't beat him in the regular season, then you're not going to get to the playoffs. And then after that, I go with the Texans at 5 because I just think he's an up and comer, and I think he's going to put it all together this season.
Okay, well, I somewhat agree on some of your teams, different order, but I'm going to have to say I disagree. And the AFC is kind of tough to measure out the top, 4, 5, 6 teams because there are a lot of good teams in the AFC. But I do agree with your number 1. The Kansas City Chiefs is the top team in the AFC to beat. Just as you stated, until someone can go in a playoff game while he's actually playing and not being subbed and beating him, then the road to the championship still goes to Kansas City. Whether he's at home or on the road, it doesn't matter. You're going to have to beat the Chiefs. The second team in the AFC, I'm going to say Jacksonville Jaguars. I have played ShamWow in another league, and he's very, very good offense and defense. He loves to run the football. That could have been, a big reason why he lost in the Super Bowl is he relied too much on the run. But, when you can run the football and you have a good defense, there's always a chance that you're going to win a football game. My 3rd team in the AFC, I'm going to say the Houston Texans. I think with that defense and he's coming around on offense, he's trying new books and stuff, and I see the offense getting better as the season goes on. And like I said, good defense is hard to beat, and I've screened him over a lot over the off season, and the defense is no joke. So that would be my 3rd pick, the Houston Texans. Number 4, I would say it's the New England Patriots. Just as you said, Mike always gets the most out of any of and all of his players, and he's got a good quarterback in Jay Cutler, and I think this year he's going to overtake the Dolphins to take the AFC East. I don't see a whole lot of difference in the AFC East other than the Pats and the Dolphins fighting it out, but in the end, Mike is a defensive coach, so I'm going to go New England Patriots at number 4. Number 5 is the only one that you didn't have, and I'm going to say the Cleveland Browns. It sounds crazy, but with all their off-season acquisitions and that defensive line, and he's got, you don't have experience in the running back, but I do feel you get the most out of your defense, and I just have to say defense normally wins championships unless you're playing branch. So I'm going to stick with the Cleveland Browns. So Chiefs, Jags, Texans, Pats, and Browns are mine, and that's how I'm going to go with it. Okay, knuckleheads, that's our 6 topics of the day. The last section we're going to do is just a sound off, and my sound off goes off to the new GMs, coaches of the Jets and the Redskins. Not too bad of showing in week number 1. The Jets, got beat by a pretty good defense, and the Browns 34-13. But they got a really, really good running back, and it was nice to see the new GM step in. And even though they lost, it was somewhat competitive. As far as the Bears and Redskins go, the Bears beat the Redskins 33-17. And I feel that the Redskins GM in the second half did a way better job than he did in the first half. So I do think both of the GMs will be nice additions to the league, and will be competitive in the short future once they get some experience under their belt, and with the offense and defense of the way different people play, and playing call, their play calling skills get better. Because, hey, I'll be honest, my first game I ever played in the ICL, I got thrashed 48-10 by the Steelers. So these guys are way better than what I did. So that's my sound off. Kovac, what's yours?
I'm going to sound off on this this whole, why can't the league just get along? All week long we have heard nothing but highlighting. Nothing but people being rather spiteful and challenging others for how they play their games. Let me just say this. We're in a coaching league, and if you're going to repeatedly throw bombs and strikes to your outside wide receivers, and someone wants to highlight that play because that's all you're doing all game for 54 passes a game, then more power to you. That's called coaching, and that's what we do here. But I don't see why we need to keep bringing up the animosity and throwing it in people's faces. Hey, highlighting is part of the game. So is shifting your defensive lines to get sacks. So is, there are a lot of things in this game that we can agree with and we can't disagree with. But this is one that we just need to put to bed. And everybody just get back to the old times. Just quit bitching at each other.
Mm-hmm. Okay, knuckleheads, that's it for week number 1 PTI. He's Ryan Kovac, I'm Mike Goodman, and we'll see you next week. You guys take care.